Okay, so this is a demo for using the logixpro simulator, which is the initial step to program PLCs in ladder logic, and specifically it's a program that allows you to virtually simulate the programming of programmable logic controllers of the Allen Bradley brand. Before I actually open up the simulation software which you should have, I want to direct you to the place where you can download the software for free and use it for 15 or 30 days, I believe. If you haven't purchased the product for any reason, then you have a chance to actually go to this site called the Learning Pet or the learningpet.com. That's the company that produces this system, and you can actually go ahead and download the software here, and it's a free 15-day trial. All right, I'm not gonna do that. You're gonna do the download now, and then you should be set with that. All right, I will actually spend some time right now introducing you to the concept of logixpro. And so let's look at the logixpro screen here for a minute. I know many students get discouraged because this is basically a new concept. It's nothing like you've done before. It's different. Programming requires a level of logic and the ability to think ahead and so on and so forth. So my job is to facilitate the process for you, and hopefully you'll get to learn a little bit of the use of this product, so that when you go to the real world to program PLCs, you will be ready to do so. So anyways, I just opened up the logixpro simulator. I'm going to hide this guy. All right, and here we have a few things that I want to be able to take a little chance to show you here. We got the logixpro screen, right? Maybe you don't even understand what all of this implies, but as a matter of fact, you can actually change the screens here if you wish. Notice what I'm doing here. First of all, you have the way in which you can toggle the screen. You see that? You're looking at the edit panel with all the instructions that you will need for PLC programming. And when I flip it over here, I have the PLC panel. So you have to get familiar with, switching that back and forth, toggling that back and forth, because you're going to use that. All right, so that's the first thing I want you to get familiar with. The rest is actually very user-friendly, such as any other Windows-based product. So that is the way in which we look at the Allen Bradley product. All right, I will then introduce you to some of the basic programming skills so that you can know what to do. So let's look at the logic functions, and I'm not going to explain each one in details, but as you read the book, chapter 3 and 4 actually introduce a lot of these concepts. And so from the simulation menu at the top of the screen, we're going to select IO simulator, because there's various simulators in here. We're going to select IO simulator. As we do that, then we're presetting the system so that we can use virtual components so we can simulate what we want to do. Now notice that we can actually maximize this windows, right? Notice that we can minimize it, right? And we can play with all that good stuff. You can do whatever. You can actually expand it from here too, right? So just like that, right? That's probably a good idea to have it like that. And so you will need that potentially for various types of simulations. We got the IO simulator and we got the BCD simulator in that case. All right. Let's see. Let's create a little program for you to see how this works. Let's say I'm going to do a very simple project, and the project is going to have to do with one input and one output. I'll place my set right here, I'm gonna use a examine if close instruction. So just like that, I'm gonna place myself here. I'm gonna use an output instruction, output energize instruction. So there we have already a basic project, right, with an input and one output. Now, as you probably have learned or will learn, all these items will require an address so that the computer understands which input or output elements we're referring to. So what we need to do then for that purpose is to, there's actually various ways in we could go about this. One is manually input the address, and the other one is basically changing this interface here and coming up here to this data files. And if I go double click here, I bring up a table that allows me automatic addressing. So I just click and drag that number and drop it over this item, and now I am addressing that item with that address. I'm going to repeat that again just in case we didn't get it. You can actually override instructions. So here I go again. I'm gonna take the guy, push down, hold it down, drag it, and throw it in here. And notice how that changes. I can actually go right here and change to my output table, which is right here. And at the same time, I can go ahead and use an address to address the output. Why do we do this? Because the computer needs to know which output you're referring to. So that is actually a simple program that we have devised over there. And notice that all programs end with an end instruction, such as like that. That's typical, right? We can actually modify whatever we want to do in that regard. One other thing that is important when you do this program is labeling, or labeling. So I'm gonna right click on the item, and I'm gonna edit the symbol, and I'll start something or say something like switch. Right? That's a switch. All right. And I'm gonna go back here and do the same. Edit symbol. Right? I just right click and say edit symbol, and this is a lamp. Lamp 0. Okay, so we have edited the program, and of course you're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna close this for now so that I can bring back my simulation system, and you're gonna go ahead and save this, right? Save, and there's two ways to save this. You can save it with an extension given by default based on the program, or you can save the run as a picture. However you want to do it, it's best if you can save it as a logixpro file, right? And I'm gonna do this test 1. All right, I'll save it. Okay, it didn't save it. All right, but you can still save it, right? Because it's in trial mode. So anyways, but you can save the file, and you probably want to do that, especially those files that are assigned to you, so you can know what to do with them. Let's go ahead and run it, which is the next part. Right, in order to run it, I have to change the interface right here. Show PLC control panel, and first of all, I have to download it. All right, it's almost like I'm downloading this program onto the PLC, the actual hardware, but in reality it's happening within the computer, and I'm going to run it here. And as I do that, I can go to switch 10, which is this one right here. And if I click on that, notice what's happening. I'm actually actuating my ladder logic program, right? This is a simple automated light, right, that I can execute, and so on and so forth. So that is the first demo on how to go about using the logixpro simulator, which you're going to be using for a lot of the assignments that we'll do in this class, INDT 205. All right, be right back with a little more advanced as we move.